Assalamu alaikum everyone. क्या हाल हैं आप लोगों के? अच्छा PDF में basically there are I'll upload the PDF. The PDF is not finalized इसलिए मैंने upload नहीं किया, but I will upload it. उसकी marking scheme अभी नहीं बनी. अच्छा, what's that? Most awaited topic. All right, so good to hear that. Mensuration. Yeah, I've already done plenty of streams for mensuration. I will do more inshallah close to the exams. Right now I just want to give mensuration a break. Acha, okay, so I took what you said really seriously. 275 out of... What's that supposed to mean? Acha, are you telling me the rank? Overall rank? Acha, chale khair. I hope whatever I said worked in your favor. Are you going to teach the... No, I'm not going to cover the entire statistics, which is why you can see this is titled Part 1. Let's see how much we can cover. My aim is to at least cover mean, median, mode of group data and of basically scattered data and mean, median, mode of group data. Okay, that's what the agenda is. Let's see how much we're able to cover. Okay, so it depends really. But yeah, I think it's going to take at least 3 streams तो लगेंगे इसको. ठीक है, ये मैं minimum की बात कर रहा हूँ, probably even more. All right, so anyway, let's start. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get to work. Any sort of... मैं 3 minute late हूँ. चलें, I'm sorry. I hope I'm allowed in class. What is a pictogram? You guys will find out. It's a piece of cake really. It's a joke really, to be honest. Pictogram. So how to figure out quartile accurately without graphical method? Are angle bisector cubic sequences in syllabus that are hard? Angular bisector is no more part of the syllabus. Okay. Perpendicular bisector I would advise you to do because you need it when you want to find out the center of rotation. Then cubic sequences are also part of the syllabus. I've done, I don't think I've done a stream on it, but I am streaming number sequences tomorrow. I've done a video on cubic sequence. You can check it out if you're in a rush, if you don't want to wait. But yeah, so just so you know. Khair, anyway, so let's start. Let's see what it is that we have to cover today. Or let's go over the concepts and then we'll talk about what to do next. So the concepts that we have to cover are as follows. So first of all, it's mean, median, mode of raw data or scattered data. Okay, mean, median, mode of raw data, scattered data means values that are all over the place. So we're going to see some example questions. You guys will know what I'm talking about. So those of you who are watching, I would appreciate if you guys like the stream and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. Now, next is mean, median, mode of group data. So this is where we have a frequency table. So we're going to look into that, how to find out mean, median, mode when you have a frequency table. And then we're going to look at how to find out mean, median, mode when you have group data, which is in the form of a range. Okay, and then you have statistical diagrams, you have bar chart, pictogram, pie chart, histogram, cumulative frequency curve, and then related to cumulative frequency curve, we need to know quartiles, scatter plot, and then there's stem and leaf and quartiles of scatter data, which is only part of IGCSE. Okay, so then there's also box and whisker, which used to be part of the syllabus, but it's no more part of the syllabus. Okay, so keep that in mind because you'll come across past paper questions with box and whisker. It's no more part of the syllabus, so nothing to worry about. Yeah, let's get to work. Okay, let's get to work. This will probably, I don't think we'll be able to get to number 12 today. Okay, so hold your horses. And let's go in the sequence. Okay, now first of all, let's understand the types of data that we have. So I'll share these notes with you guys once the stream ends, but for now let's have a look at the types of data that we have. Now all data can be divided into 2 categories. Okay, what are the 2 categories? Let's look at the 2 categories. Category number 1 is numerical or quantitative. Numerical or quantitative basically means that values that have quantities, like for example, could be marks in a test, could be height, could be weight, could be age, could be time also. So all these are basically numerical or quantitative types of data. Then you have qualitative. Qualitative मतलब आपका gender हो सकता है, blood group हो सकता है, grades हो सकते हैं, color हो सकता है. So basically where you don't really have a value or you cannot assign a value, those are examples of qualitative data. Okay. Now numerical data is further divided into two categories. Okay, so you have ungrouped or scattered data, जिसको हम discrete भी बोलते हैं. ठीक है, इसके अपने formulas हैं. And then you have group data. Now group data is further divided into three categories. What are the three categories? Let's have a look at the three categories one by one. So one is when you have discrete values. Okay, so what do we call this? This has a specific name and this is called a frequency table. Okay, this is called a frequency table. All right, now there's a formula to find out the mean, median, mode. And then you have group data with class intervals. So whenever you have values in range form, okay, this usually happens with time, this usually happens with mass, with length, where the values that you have happen to be in range form. So, or range कैसी होती है? Continuous होती है. Meaning, where one class ends, so these are also, इनको हम classes भी बोलते हैं, intervals भी बोलते हैं, they all mean the same thing. So where one class ends, or you can say where one interval ends, the other interval starts, or the other class starts. Okay, so this is called continuous. And then you have another type where you have class intervals which is not continuous. Not continuous का मतलब कि बीच में gap आता है. So for example ये 2 पे end हो रहा है तो ये 3 पे start हो रहा है. ये 5 पे end हो रहा है तो ये 6 पे start हो रहा है. अब इसकी भी कुछ treatment होती है, इसको हम continuous में convert करते हैं. वो कैसे करते हैं? We're gonna look into that. Okay. But before we do that, obviously first let's focus on mean, median, and mode of ungrouped data. Okay. So that's what we're gonna start with. Some very basics, and that is mean, median, and mode of ungrouped data. So we're going to learn the concept and then we're going to do some past paper questions. Mean, median, and mode of ungrouped data. Okay, what did I miss? Ramzan Mubarak, aapko bhi. I appreciate it. Acha, what is it? Conditional probability. No. There is no conditional probability that you have. You don't have conditional probability in O-level. But अभी एग्जाम सर पे हैं और आप लोग अभी भी आप लोग सिलेबस पूछ रहे हो कि क्या चीज़ है सिलेबस में नहीं है. सिलेबस खोलो, you'll find out what's in the syllabus and what's not. Okay, I really don't understand why you guys don't do that. Did you have to take matters into your own hands, see what's in the syllabus, what's not, and just get to work. Simple as that. How to find quartile in Casio 991 ES Plus. The amount of time that it will take you to do that, it's best that you... Acha beta, I think you can be a little bit patient. I'd appreciate that. No need to bombard with questions. Take it easy. Acha, I'm currently taking... I haven't taken IGCSE, I'm considering... Okay, you can do that. Good luck. So... mean, median, mode of ungrouped data. Let's start with mean. Now, what's the formula that we use for mean? The formula that we use for mean is as follows. Mean or average. ठीक है, mean को हम एक और नाम भी देते हैं, which is called average. And what's the formula for it? The formula for it is equals to sum divided by n. Okay, what do we mean by sum? Sum basically means जितने भी आपके पास values हैं उनको total कर लें, ठीक है, और n basically means the number of terms. So sum means the total of all the values that you have, and n means the number of terms. Sir, stream का कुछ करते हैं बेटा. मेरे पास भी यही टाइम है, but मेरी stream और सर जैन की stream, I'm sure दोनों की stream post होती है as soon as we're done. So you can decide whichever stream you want to watch live, and the other you can watch recorded. Okay. Now let's do a very simple example. And the example is that you are supposed to find the mean. ठीक है, क्या करना है? हमने mean निकालना है. Okay, let's say there is a test of 20 marks and 5 students have given the test. Okay, and the scores are as follows: 15, 17, 10, 20, 14. Okay, so 5 लोगों ने टेस्ट दिया, ये उनके scores हैं, और हमने क्या करना है? हमने उनका mean निकालना है. तो कैसे निकालेंगे? Simple. Add all of them up. 15 plus 17 plus 10 plus 20 plus 14. So these are 5 students and we're going to divide it by 5. So let's work it out. Let's see what do we get. So 15 plus 17 plus 10 plus 20 plus 14 divided by 5. So we get 15.2. So the mean or the average score is equals to what? Is equals to 15.2. Very simple. Okay, I know nothing complicated here. And initially, things are going to be easy. When we get to group data, that is when things get complicated. Then let's talk about median. So when you make class about angle properties of, I've already covered angle properties of circles, and we'll do that. I'll do more angle properties of circles close to the exams. Now, what exactly is median? First, let's understand that. By definition, mean is basically the central term. The central term, or you can say the middle value. Okay, so the value that's right at the center, that's what the median is. Now, let's look at the formula. The formula for median is as follows. Median is equals to n plus 1 divided by the 2th term. Okay, but the 2th term after arranging the terms in ascending order. Okay, so let's do an example. I know Dropbox is empty. I will upload the notes after we're done with class. ठीक है, अभी there's no worksheet for now. The worksheet is not ready. तो वो जैसी ready होगी मैं आप लोगों के साथ share कर दूँगा. Now, let's say that you have, once again, we have 5 random scores of a test, and this is what they look like. Okay. Now, the question is, what's the median? Can I say 9 is the median? Can I say 9 is the median? I'm sure a lot of students make this mistake. Okay, I know for a fact a lot of students make this mistake and they say that 9 is the median. But that is absolutely wrong. Okay, that's absolutely wrong. 9 is not the median. Why? Because you have to first arrange the data in ascending order. Okay, so let's arrange in, you can do it in ascending or descending order, by the way. Let's arrange it in ascending order. And if you arrange it in ascending order, this is what it looks like. So you have the smallest term, which is 9, and then after that there's 11, and then after that there's 15, then 17, and then there is 20, okay? Now, when you don't have a lot of terms, what you can do is you can simply eyeball the median, okay? Why? Because all you have to do is identify what's the term in the center. So you don't really have to use the formula. When you have like very few terms, you can just eyeball it. Now, what's the way to eyeball it? Here's what you can do. You can start crossing out the terms from the ends, okay, from both ends till you're left with one term in the center. Okay, now there will come a point where you might have 2 terms left in the center. What do we do in that case? We'll find out. Okay, so in this case, what's the median? In this case, if let's say you use the formula, this is what you're going to do. 5 plus 1 upon the 2th term. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 upon 2 is 3. So that means it's the 3rd term. And what's the 3rd term? The 3rd term, as we can see, is 15. Okay, so 15 therefore is the median. Threshold आपका threshold में median का भी involvement होती है. So in threshold what they do is they take the extremes, they exclude the extreme scores, and then they look at the majority of the scores, and that's how threshold is calculated. Yes. Now part 2. Let's do another question. Let's say now we have an even number of students who gave the test. Okay, and this is what the scores look like. 16, 12, 18, 15, 13, 20. Okay. Now, once again, what do we want to do? We want to find out the median. क्या निकालना है हमने? हमने median निकालना है. So if I use the formula, before using the formula, in fact, let's arrange the data in ascending order. So we have 12, 13, 15, 16, 18, 20. Okay. Now here also you can eyeball it. If let's say you use the method where you start crossing out the values, notice what happens. So we cross values in pairs from each ends. So first pair crossed, second pair crossed. Now we're left with 2 terms in the center. Okay, so if we're left with 2 terms in the center, that means the median is going to be the average of these 2 terms. Okay, so after crossing out, if you're left with 2 terms, then what we do is we take the average of the 2 terms. So 15 plus 16 divided by 2, that's equal to what? That's equal to 15.5. My past paper session is inshallah starting from the first week of April. Okay, starting from the first week of April. Now you can do the same using the formula. If you use the formula, this is what it looks like. Using the formula, total number of terms happen to be 6. So 6 plus 1 upon the 2th term. So that means 7. 7 upon 2 is 3.5. Now what do we do in this case? In a scenario like this, where you have a decimal. So 3.5 terms means that you will take the average of the 3rd and the 4th term and divide by 2. Now what's the 3rd term? That's 15. What's the 4th term? That's 16. Divide by 2. What do you get? You get 15.5, same as before. Okay, so pretty easy. Your past paper session will be free. Nahi beta, I will solve a couple of past papers on the channel. Those will be free, but if you want like regular classes of past papers, that's not free, that's paid. Okay, now let's do mode and range, and then we'll do some past paper questions. What's mode? Mode kya hota hai? Mode is basically the most common value. Okay, that's what mode is. The most common, or we can say the most repeating term. Okay, that's it. That's what mode is. Yeah, so I did say earlier that you can eyeball the median. If you don't have a lot of terms, simply just eyeball the median. That's it. Now, if let's say you have this data set 15, 9, 7, 11, 15, 20. What's the mode? ऐसी कौन सी term है जो सबसे ज़्यादा दफ़ा आ रही है? That's 15. Okay, and let's say you have 7, 7, 8, 9, 4, 9, 15, 11. In this case, what's the mode? In this case, the mode will be 7 and 9. So basically, a data can have more than one mode. Okay, that's the whole idea of doing this, that ये आपका mode जो होता है आपका एक से ज़्यादा हो सकता है. Okay. Now last, that's the range. What's range equal to? Range is basically equal to the highest value minus the lowest value. That's what range is. Tally है हमारे syllabus में, but tally is kind of like an optional. Okay, tally is something that if you want to use it, you can use it, but officially हमारे syllabus में नहीं है. If all values are unique, that means there is no mode. Okay, if all values are unique, that means there is no mode. Okay. All right, so let's do some past paper questions. I've taken out a few questions. Let's solve them one by one. Sir, yeah, mode will not exist if there is. Sir, why you turned off color to shape? I don't like it. असल चीज़ छुप जाती है. That's why I turned it off. सब चीज़ों का track रखा हुआ है आपने. No, mode is not 0. Okay, mode 0 का मतलब है कि 0 is the term that occurs the most. Mode is not 0. There is no mode. Simple as that. Okay, that means there is no mode. Okay, so in the following questions, don't use your calculator. Right, the questions that we're about to solve, do not use your calculator in these questions. रोज़े में क्या खाते हैं बेटा? रोज़े में तो नहीं खाते, रोज़े के बाद खाते हैं. Was that a trick question? Past paper questions. I'll do paper 4 questions as well. Okay, so here we have a past paper question. Very simple, no calculator so far. Okay, so let's see what this question says. This question says 1 week the temperatures in degrees Celsius at midnight were recorded. The results are given below. All right. Use these results to find out the mode. So what do you think the mode is going to be? No, in this video I will not do probability. Probability is a different chapter altogether. So in this video, in this question, I was going to say in this video. In this question, mode is what we're supposed to find out. So mode क्या है? Mode है सबसे ज़्यादा term. सबसे ज़्यादा कौन आ रहा है? -1 नहीं आ रहा. I think -2 is the term that's repeated the most often. So -2 is the mode. Now what about the median? Please don't fall for the trap. Don't just eyeball the central term. Okay, which is, by the way, going to be 5. 5 is not the answer. Okay, if you say 5, that's not the answer. A good idea would be to arrange the data in ascending or descending order. So let's arrange it in ascending order. And when you're arranging the data in ascending order, a good idea would be to just lightly put a cross on the term that you have already written. Okay, so for example, if you've written -3, so put a small cross on it. And then after -3, we have 2 minus 2. So you can put crosses on -2. And then we have -1, so we can cross out -1. And then we have 1, 2, and 5. So 1, 2, and 5. So we've written all terms. Now we can find out what the median is. So let's start crossing out terms on both sides till we're left with a term in the middle. So we're left with this term. That means the median is -1. Okay? Now what about the mean? For the mean, let's add all the terms. So -3, -2, -2, -1, +1, +2, +5 divided by how many terms do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now be smart about it. Okay. What do I mean by that? Here's what I mean by that. -2 + 2 cancel ho gaya. -1 + 1 will cancel. -3 -2 will give us what? Will give us -5. And what's -5 + 5? That 2 will also cancel. So that means it's 0 divided by 7. So what's the answer? The answer is straight away 0. Okay, so fairly easy question. These are easy questions, but there's still a lot that can go wrong. These are very unforgiving questions. You make one small error and that's it. You either get a mark or you don't. There's nothing in between. Now let's do another question. I have taken out a couple of questions. Let's do this one here. So this says, arrange the 5 numbers in order. So if it was 7 divided by 0, that's not possible. How can you have... Thodi aqal bhi istemal kar lete hain beta. You're saying that there are... Okay. So this is what you're saying. You're saying that there are 0 terms with sum 7. How's that possible? ठीक है, तो थोड़ी अकल इस्तेमाल कर लेते हैं. कोई मसला नहीं होगा. Now, arrange the 5 numbers in order starting with the smallest. So let's start with the smallest term. What's the smallest term? The smallest term is -1.2. So let's cross that out. And then after -1.2, we have -0.3. So let's cross that out. A good idea would be to not actually cross it out. Okay, a good idea would be to just put a cross on top. Okay. And then after that, what's the smallest term? We have 0.05. So let's cross that out. And then after that, we have 0.2. So it's we cross laga dete hain. And then after that, we have 1.3. So let's put it. Yeah, I will do, I'll do paper 2 today as well. Okay. Now let's find out the mean. How do I find out the mean? Let's add all the terms. -1.2 plus -0.3 plus 0.05 plus 0.2 plus 1.3. Okay, this by the way is paper 2. Okay, this is paper 2. Divided by how many terms do we have? We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 terms. Okay, so use your calculator. Be extra careful with the signs. You don't want to mess it up. So -1.2 plus, or minus rather, 0.3 plus 0.05 plus 0.2 plus 1.3 divided by 5. So we have 0.01, which is the mean. Now, what about the range? How will I find out the range? Range will be the highest value minus the lowest value. What's the highest value? The highest value is, now the good thing is that data has already, the question has already made us arrange the data in ascending order. So we have the highest value, which is 1.3. And from that, let's subtract the lowest value, which is -1.2. So 1.3 minus 1.2, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 2.5. All right, there we go. Let's do another question. And here it is. Ye mera bada favorite question hai. It's very old, but it's one of my favorite questions. So what will we do after sequence class? After sequences, we will most likely do, I think, asymptotes. Asymptotes ki kafi demand aa rahi hai, so I think I'll make a video on asymptotes. Asymptotes or maybe curve sketching. You know, cubic curve has been added in the O-level syllabus as well. It has always been in the IGCSE syllabus. So I'm thinking I should do quadratic and cubic curve sketching. Do we have trigonometric? No, you don't have trigonometric identities in O-level math. Not even in IGCSE math. Okay. So what's the mode of the 5 numbers? The mode of the 5 numbers is -2. There you go. So what exactly is going on in the question? Let's understand that. Umar has a pack of number cards. He picks these 5 cards. Okay, so these are 5 cards. Then the question says he takes another card from the pack. If the mean of the 6 numbers is -1, what number did he pick? Okay, so that means there's another card, the 6th card. We don't know what it is, but we do know that the sum of these numbers is equal to, the mean of these numbers is equal to -1. So let's start adding them up. So we have -2, -4, -2, +4, +1, plus x divided by the number of cards that we have, which is 6. And what's the mean equal to? The mean is equal to -1. Okay, so what exactly are we doing over here? We are adding all the numbers, okay, and we are dividing by the number of cards that we have, which happens to be 6. And since we're given the mean, so we're equating it to that. Okay, now let's cross multiply. So -2 -4 -2 plus 4 plus 1 plus x is equal to -6. Now be smart over here. So what do I mean by that? This is what I mean. -4 plus 4 cancel kar diya humne. ठीक है. -2, what's that going to be? That's going to be -4, and -4 plus 1, that's going to be -3. So -3 plus x is equals to -6. X is equals to -6 plus 3, which means it's -3. And there you go. That's the answer, -3. Okay. So shouldn't it be 5 plus x? No, I didn't add it yet. It's -2, which is -4, and -4 plus 1, so that's going to be -3. अच्छा, अब ये बड़ा interesting part है इसका. Okay, so this part is, so see if you guys can figure it out. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to figure it out. Okay, and it's not related to the previous part, okay? It's completely independent. So the question says, ये question इस तरह से हमने solve करना है. Sir, instead of 6, shouldn't you do 5 plus x? Instead of 6, shouldn't you do 5 plus x? So which part are you talking about? You can do that also. It's up to you. I mean, at the end of the day, you just have to simplify it. You can simplify it however way you want, as long as you're getting the correct answer. Okay, so the condition is the answer should be correct. अब आपने simplify इसको जैसे करना है, it's up to you. ठीक है, आंसर आपका सही आना चाहिए. Is -3 one of the values in part 1? I'm afraid not. -3 is not one of the values in part 1. Read the question carefully. Read the question very, very carefully. -8 or -16? -10 or -11? No. No. Okay, so I'll solve it. Now, first of all, notice the question is saying, right, what are the 2 possible numbers he could have picked? 2 possible numbers that he could have picked. अच्छा, अब 2 possible numbers that he could have picked. तो एक काम करते हैं, पहले इसको बोल देते हैं x. What are we given? We are given the difference between the highest and the lowest numbers. Okay, we are given the difference between the highest and the lowest numbers is 12. अच्छा, अब the question does not say कि ये numbers जो हमारे पास already हैं, इनमें से highest और lowest number है. ठीक है? So, for example, we know for sure that he couldn't have, the highest and the lowest number could not have been 4 and -4. How do we know for sure कि highest number 4 नहीं हो सकता और lowest number -4 नहीं हो सकता? Because notice the difference according to the question is equal to 12. So that means the highest or the lowest number is basically the 6th card. Okay, so the 6th card could be the highest or the 6th card could be the lowest as well. We don't know. So we're supposed to consider both possibilities. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to consider both possibilities. And then we'll see what are the possible values of the 6th card. Okay? So let me just drag it down a little and show you guys how to solve it. ठीक है, अब ये आ गया सिक्स्थ कार्ड. ठीक है, अब सिक्स्थ कार्ड ही है जो हाईएस्ट भी हो सकता है और लोवेस्ट भी हो सकता है. उसकी वजह क्या है? उसकी वजह ये है कि जो हमारे एग्जिस्टिंग कार्ड्स हैं उनमें से अगर हम हाईएस्ट और लोवेस्ट देखें तो उनका डिफरेंस 12 कहीं से नहीं आ रहा. ओके, सो द डिफरेंस बिटवीन the highest and the lowest cards of the remaining from the remaining 5 or from the given 5 is not 12. So that means x could be the highest or x could be the lowest as well. Now first let's consider it as the highest card. If x is the highest card, then what about the lowest card? The lowest card would be -4. Okay, so if x is the highest card, then the lowest card would be -4. And this difference is equal to what? This difference is equals to 12. Okay, so let's work this out. X plus 4 is equals to what? Is equals to 12. So that means x is equals to 8. Now one possible answer is equal to what? Is equal to 8. Now what if x is the lowest card? You know, that's also possible. What if x is the lowest card? So now let's consider x to be the lowest card. In which case, what about the highest card? This becomes the highest card. Okay, so that means 4 minus x is equals to 12. And here, if you solve for the value of x, which is equal to -8. Okay, nope, not -16 and 8. It's positive 8 and -8. All right, so take a good look at it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll summarize it as well. So after taking out the sixth card, the difference between the highest and the lowest is 12. ठीक है, अब इसका क्या मतलब है? इसका मतलब है कि हाईएस्ट कार्ड जो है और लोवेस्ट कार्ड जो है वो लाजमी वो जो सिक्स्थ कार्ड निकाल रहा है उसमें से आएगा. ठीक है, हाउ डू आई नो दैट द हाईएस्ट कार्ड कैन नॉट बी एनी वन ऑफ द टू कार्ड्स from the cards that we know already? That's because if we find out the range, we can see that the range is not 12, which means that the sixth card could be the highest card and the sixth card could also be the lowest card. So we consider the sixth card to be the highest card, in which case this becomes the lowest. Okay, so I'm color coding it so it's easy for you guys. So this becomes the lowest if x is the highest card, and then if x is the lowest card, then 4 becomes the highest card. Okay, this is paper 1. I actually I don't know whether this is paper 1 or paper 2, but the thing is it doesn't make a difference because we really don't need a calculator over here. Okay, all right, let's do another question. So this is basically mean median mode of scattered data. Okay, this was mean median mode of scattered data. अच्छा, अब हम एक काम करते हैं, अब हम देखते हैं frequency table. Okay, frequency table, which is a form of grouped data. Let's do an example. So can you suggest the main advanced topics? But I've done a whole video on it. I've explained it in detail, which topics to expect in paper 1, which topics to expect in paper 2. Make sure to check it out. It's a very detailed video. I know a lot of advanced students are confused as to what topics to expect in paper 1 and what to expect in paper 2. So that video will help. Okay, and there are some worksheets also that my team and I have compiled. You can download the worksheets from the website as well, paper 1 worksheets. So here's a question. Let's solve this. And here, what do we have? Notice that we have a frequency table. Okay, we have a frequency table. The question says, Emma noted the number of letters in each of the 25 words in an examination question. Okay, so Emma is probably one of those students who are done with the exam, and this is basically how she's killing her time. The results are given in the table below. For this distribution, write down the mode. Okay. Ab yahan pe, what's the mode going to be? The mode will be the term with the highest frequency. Okay, because we have a frequency table, so the mode will be the term which has the highest frequency. So which term has the highest frequency? Let's see. First, let's see which frequency is the highest. So 6 is the highest frequency. And what is 6 the frequency of? It's the frequency of 3. So that means the mode is 3. Okay. Now what about the median? The formula that we will use for median is sigma f plus 1 upon the 2th term. Okay, so same formula, it's just that we're writing it differently. Okay, summation f basically means total frequency. All right, now what's the total frequency? The total frequency is 25. So 25 plus 1 divided by 2, which is equal to what? Which is equal to the 13th term. Okay. Now how do we identify the 13th term? Here's what we do. We start adding the frequencies. We basically find the cumulative frequency. Okay, what do? We basically find the cumulative frequency. So what's the frequency over here? The frequency here is 2. And then what do? We do 2 plus 6, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 8. Okay? And then we do 8 plus 5, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 13. So basically, the value under which we cross 13, or whether it's equal to 13, that is what the median is going to be. Okay, so what's the value where we cross, or where it's equal to or greater than 13? That's basically 4. Okay, so what's the median equal to? The median is equals to 4. अच्छा, इसके पीछे logic समझ लें. Okay, let's understand the logic behind this. A lot of people know how to do this, but they don't know what the logic is. N upon 2 plus 1? No. There's no such formula where it's n upon 2 plus 1. It's n plus 1 upon 2. Okay? Now, the logic behind here is this. When we say the frequency of 2 is 2, that means the first and the second term is equal to 2. When we say the frequency of 3 is 6, that means from the third term to the 8th term, they're all 6. Okay, so this is what it looks like. We have 2, 2. The first term is 2. The second term is 2. The third term is 6. The fourth term is 6. The fifth term is 6. The sixth term is 6. The seventh term is 6. And so is the 8th term, which is also 6. Okay, you don't have to do this every single time, but it's important to understand the logic. And then the 9th term, okay, so what happens if we add 8 plus 5? That's equal to 13. So that means from the 9th all the way to the 13th term, they're all equal to what? They're all equal to 5. They're all equal to 4. So, wait a minute. 6 it's actually 3. 6 the frequency. So that means the third term is 3, the fourth term is 3, the fifth term is 3, the sixth term is 3, the 8th term is 3, the 9th term is also 3. And then after the 9th term is 4. So 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. ये सारी टर्म्स किसके बराबर हैं? ये सारी टर्म्स 4 के बराबर हैं. ठीक है, अब ये सारी ख्वारी हम नहीं करते ऑब्वियसली पेपर में. ठीक है, हम इस तरह करेंगे तो फिर we'll only be able to solve one question. We just want the 13th term, and what's that equal to? That's equal to 4. A shorter way of doing this is to first find out the median term, which is 13, and see in which value of x is equal to the 13th term. Okay, and how do we do that? We do that by adding the frequencies. 2 plus 6 is 8, 6 plus 5 is 8 plus 5 is 13. So that means the 13th term must be somewhere in this box. And what is this box representing? This box is representing 4. Therefore, 4 is the median. Okay, now what about the mean? How do we calculate the mean over here? Mean, we have a different formula over here. And that is summation fx over summation f. Okay, summation fx basically means f multiplied by x. So इस table को जरा copy paste कर लेते हैं यहाँ पे, and let's apply the formula. So common sense says that if you have to, let's say, add 3 6 times, so instead of doing 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, simply do 3 times 6. Okay, and similarly, if you have to add 4 5 times, so instead of doing 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, simply do 4 times 5. So that's what we're doing. Okay, that is where this formula really comes from. A lot of people say that they have difficulty memorizing the formula. Well, if you understand the formula, if you understand the logic behind using the formula, it's not that difficult. Okay, sigma basically means sum of. So this is, we read this as summation, or we say sum of. So this is f, and whatever it is that we're measuring is basically x. So in this case, number of letters aapke x ho gaye, and frequency, as we can see, that's f. So a good idea would be to first write all the results above or below the table. So 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 6 is 18, 5 times 4 is 20, 5 times 5 is 25, 6 times 4 is 24, 7 times 0 is 0, 3 times 8 is 24. And now what are we going to do? We're going to add all these values to get the sum. 4 plus 18 plus 20 plus 25 plus 24 plus 0 plus 24 divided by the number of terms, which happen to be 25. Let's add them up and let's see what do we get. 4 plus 18 plus 20 plus 25 plus 24 plus 0 plus 24 divided by 25, and we get 4.6. So the answer is 4.6. Fairly easy. Let's do another question. I'll give you guys a question to solve. See if you can do it. In Pakistan, we use 12 and 22. In Pakistan, it's 12 and 22. Okay, here's a question which I would like you guys to solve without my help. Asymptotes हम करेंगे inshallah. We'll do them this week only. Asymptote इतना कोई मुश्किल चीज़ नहीं है. That's why I've been procrastinating it. It's actually very easy. Oops, no, not this question. This is the same. Here. May, June 2024, regular batch. Yeah, the name rings a bell. Good to see you, Tanzeel. Why are there variants in CI paper? So because it's not possible to conduct the exam at one time throughout the world, and Cambridge exams are conducted, I think, in 80 plus countries. So to eliminate the possibility of cheating, you have different variants. So that if, let's say, you have a friend in Malaysia, so you can't ring up your friend and ask them what came in the paper, because they'll probably get a different paper than you. Or if you have a friend in South Africa, you can't ask them ke paper mein kya aaya, because they'll have a different variant. So you have one variant per time zone. Not actually per time zone, but you have, the variants are given in such a way that you can't cheat, basically. When will you make a video of graphs of functions new syllabus? Very soon. Very soon. So there will be streams frequently. So the entire syllabus will be covered, inshallah. Or at least all the important topics. Sir, I started past papers a few weeks ago and I'm struggling to answer all questions, and in the given time, do I still... Yeah, you have plenty of time. Just make sure that... See, initially your priority should not be to finish the paper in time. It's not possible to do that. Initially your priority should be that through past papers you should revise all the concepts, and once you've done that, then you should gradually start bringing your time down. Okay, so for example, if it's taking you 3 hours to complete the paper, bring it down to maybe 2 hours 45, and then 2 hours 40, and then eventually 2 hours and 30 minutes. Mode is 0. Let's see if mode is 0. Mode is in fact 0. That's correct. So answer to part 1, mode is 0. Write down the median. What's the median? Statistics comes in both. It comes in paper 1 as well as paper 2. Okay, it comes in both. You have a branch of statistics that comes in paper 1. Questions like these are paper 1 questions. And then you have paper 2 questions where you have histogram, you have cumulative frequency. Those are paper 2 questions. Median, you guys are saying, is 1. Let's see. So 25 plus 1, that's 26, divided by 2. So the 13th term. Okay, so the first 8 terms are 0. 8 plus 5 is 13. That means from the 9th to the 13th term, they're all 1. So that means the mode must be the 13th term, which means it's equal to 1. No, 13 is not the median, 1 is the median. I will be, inshallah, this week, I'm most likely going to make a video on asymptotes. ठीक है, इस week आपको मिल जाएगी asymptotes पे video. Algebra, I did a stream last week. I think it was Friday or Thursday, I don't know, but I did a stream last week. Part 3, calculate the mean. Okay, how do I calculate the mean? 0 times 8, that's 0. 5, 10, 12, 8, 5. So 0 plus 5 plus 10 plus 12 plus 8 plus 5 divided by 25. So let's see what do we get. 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 plus 10 is 20. 20 plus 20, is that 40? 40 divided by 25. Yeah, so 40 divided by 25, which you can simplify before you divide, and you get 1.6. Good job. Okay, now let's look into the mean, median, and mode of group data. Okay, group data, what kind of group data? Where you have class intervals. Okay, so mean, median, mode of group data with class intervals. So here is a question. What's the formula for median? N plus 1 or total frequency plus 1 divided by 2. So here's an example question. इसमें हमें क्या करना है? इसमें हमें मीन भी निकालना है, मीडियन भी निकालना है और मोड भी निकालना है. Okay, so this is what we're supposed to do. Calculate an estimate of the mean, calculate the modal range, and calculate the median interval. Now notice the question is saying calculate the estimate of the mean. It's not asking us to calculate the actual mean, it's asking us to calculate the estimate. And it's asking us to calculate the modal range. ठीक है, मतलब not the exact mode, but basically the range of mode. And then it's also asking us to calculate the median interval. Okay, so let's start with the mean. What's the formula that we're going to use over here? The formula that we're going to use, let's create some space. इतनी ज़्यादा जगह देने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. The formula that we're going to use for mean is the same, except we have run into a problem. We know that the formula that we use for mean is sigma fx divided by sigma f. Up the question is, what should be x? Sigma fx divided by sigma f. So the question is, while frequency is pretty straightforward, where do we get x from? So in scenarios like these, whenever you have data in interval form or data in class intervals, x, okay, so what's x? X is basically the midpoint of every class interval. Okay, so if you get a question like this in the exam, here's what I would suggest. I would suggest that you add another column, use a pencil, okay? You add another column where you write down the midpoint. Okay, now you can calculate the midpoint using your calculator, or you can do it mentally. Okay, if you're feeling confident about your mental math, do it mentally. If not, no need to take a risk, just use your calculator. So 0 plus 30 divided by 2, that's 15. 30 plus 60 divided by 2, that's 45. 60 plus 90 divided by 2, that's 75. ठीक है, आप ये भी कर सकते हैं. Okay, here's what you can do to find out the midpoint. You calculate the difference between every value. So the difference between these two intervals is 30. ठीक है, अब 30 को half करोगे तो क्या होगा? 15. Now you can either increase 90 by 15 or you can decrease 120 by 15. Okay, you can either increase 90 by half of the difference or you can decrease 120 by half of the difference. So for example, the difference between 90 and 120 is 30. So half of 30 is 15. So if I increase 90 by 15, we get 105. And similarly, if I decrease 120 by 15, we also get 105. So either way, you get the correct answer. This is much easier than adding them up and dividing by 2. So here also we can have the same approach. The difference between the two is 30. If I take the half of 30, that's 15. And if I increase 120 by 15, I get 135. And same happens if I decrease 150 by 15 as well. And this is equal to 165. So shouldn't we take mean 120 plus 90 upon 2 giving 45? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I am not sure what you mean by that. Okay, you're just supposed to add the two values and then divide by 2. Okay, now Make another column. Okay, make another column where you write down the product. Okay, so make another column where you write down the product. It'll just make your life easy. Meaning, here you write down fx, which is the result that you get after multiplying the frequency with the midpoint. Okay, so let's write down the values. If I multiply 10 by 15, we get 150. If I multiply 15 by 45, so this is a paper 2 question, okay? This is a paper 2 question, so please feel free to use your calculator. So if I do 15 times 45, what do we get? We get 675. If I do 11 times 75, we get 825. If I do 7 times 105, we get 735. And 135 times 5 is 675. And 165 times 2, that's 330. Okay, now that we have all the values, let's add them up and divide by the total frequency. For which, just read the question, you'll find it there. No need to actually add up all the frequency. Okay? So 150 plus 675 plus 825 plus 735 plus 675 plus 330 divided by 50. Mean is equal to 3. Really? I think I'm thoda piche chal raha hai. So when you work this out, you will get 67.8. Now, who will tell me the correct answer to part B and the correct answer to part C? In part B, the question is asking us to calculate the modal range, meaning which range has the highest frequency. So first, let's identify the highest frequency. The highest frequency is 15. What is 15? The frequency of 15 is basically the frequency of 30 to 60. So that means the modal range is time which is greater than or equal to 30, less than 60. Acha, what's that? So you can make a video when you multiply a probability, for example, 2, and when you make a probability. Okay. You can watch the probability stream. I've discussed it in that. I must have discussed it in that. So I am messed up in statistics and probability. Oh my, oh better. So we are covering statistics. So might as well stop spamming and pay attention. Okay, so 30 to 60. Yeah, that's the correct answer. Now, find the median interval. Okay, so whenever you have group data, remember the formula for median changes. Okay, so median is equal to, in group data, 50% of total frequency. Okay, 50% of total frequency. Or you can say total frequency divided by 2. Same thing. See, mod is singular. When the question says modal range means that your answer is going to be in range form and not a discrete value. Okay. Similarly here, notice the question says calculate the median interval, which means that your answer is going to be an interval form, not an actual value. Okay. So notice that whenever you have group data, okay, so group data mein kya difference hoga? Group data mein the question will not ask you to calculate the mean, the question will ask you to calculate the estimate of the mean. Okay, and in group data, the question will not ask you to calculate the mode, the question will ask you to calculate the modal range. And why is the question saying so? Because we are dealing with grouped data. Therefore, answer will be in range form. ठीक है, हम इसमें से एक specific value तो नहीं निकाल सकते ना. Therefore, the answer will be in range form. And same goes for median interval as well. Because the data is grouped, so in that case also the answer will be in range form. So let's see what is the total frequency divided by 2. The total frequency is 50. 50 divided by 2 is 25. Now let's see what is the corresponding interval of the 25th frequency. So we start adding the frequencies. 10 plus 15 is equal to what? Is 25. Now what is the corresponding interval? The corresponding interval is the same as the median, which is 30 to 60. So that means t is greater than or equal to 30, less than 60. All right. Now, so can't we use, yeah, I did say that you can use total frequency divided by 2. That's also perfectly all right. Sir, can we annotate on diagrams on the question paper for circle properties? Yes, I do recommend that you do that, and please use a pencil to do that. Do not use a pen, because if you mess it up, अगर आपने पेन से किया और आपने God forbid गड़बड़ कर दी, तो you're done. ठीक है, अब आप क्या करेंगे? दूसरा पेपर लेंगे. I don't think they allow that. I've never seen anyone do that, but I hope it stays that way. So just use a pencil. Whatever you do, just use a pencil. We don't do that in group data. In group data, we do not add 1. We take the total frequency and we divide it by 2. Okay, वो हम discrete data में इसलिए करते हैं ताकि हमें बीच वाली term मिल जाए. इधर बीच वाली term नहीं होगी. इधर जो है वो because group data है, so we don't have the actual terms. Okay, the terms are grouped. So we just take the total terms, divide by 2, and we look at the corresponding range. This is, yeah, you can use a calculator here. So why not? Okay, I've answered that. N equals to 50. Don't we have n upon 2th and n plus? So I've answered that question. Sir, you promised to do a video on NCR. Yeah, I know. Okay, so yeah, I did promise to do a video on NCR. I have done all the work for it, meaning I've taken all the questions out for it. Let me make a reminder and see if I can make one tomorrow morning. I'm not going to do a stream. I'll just do it. I'll just do a video. कल क्या है? Tuesday. A-level stat stream when? I did a stream on binomial distribution, and I think next is going to be geometric distribution coming very soon. Okay, solve this question. I'm just going to grab some water. Okay, where do we stand? Do a stream on differentiation. All right. Differentiation will not take very long. I'll do that. So what's the modal clause? The modal clause is 125 to 135. That's correct. That's the modal clause. It's basically the clause which has the highest frequency. 20 is the highest frequency, and it's the frequency where height is 125 to 135. Okay, then part 2. Calculate an estimate of the mean height. So the correct answer to mean height is 126.25. 126.25. Okay, एक सवाल और करते हैं. So in the previous question, why didn't you use the formula? Because the formula for group data is different. The formula for ungrouped data is different. Okay, Mariam, group data में हम one add नहीं करते क्योंकि हमें वो specific term नहीं चाहिए होती. Okay, so हमें वो पूरा interval चाहिए होता है. That's why. Sir, can you explain the upper bound questions in statistics? Yeah, so वो जब हम histogram करेंगे ना तब we'll cover it. Because वो histogram में हमें चाहिए होता है upper class boundary and lower class boundary. How many Apple Pencil do you have? Plenty. Not plenty actually, 2, because I have 2 iPads, so therefore 2 pencils. चलें ये question करें. I'm just going to be back on my desk in a minute. All right, so let's see how many concepts we have covered so far. So we have covered mean median mode of raw/scatter data. We've done mean median mode of group data, and we have done mean median mode of group data when the data is in range form. Okay, so what is relative frequency? Relative frequency is frequency divided by the total frequency. So for example, if you want to find out the relative frequency of 2, so we take the frequency of 2 and we divide by the total frequency. That's what it is. It's used in probability. It's a very easy concept, nothing to worry about. So the correct answer to this, and anyone who'd like, tell us a math joke. I've heard a lot of math jokes, but I don't really remember one right now. Acha, 5.8? Yeah, 5.8 is the correct answer. Okay, next stream mein I will make sure to memorize a few math jokes. And then, it's such a shame I can't think of a math joke. Yeah, I knew that joke, 7, 8, 9. But I thought कि वो सबने सुना हुआ ही होगा. Okay. चलें, I'll think of a math joke. ठीक है. अच्छा, anyway. Now let's do statistical diagrams. So since we have time, let's do a few statistical diagrams as well. Let's start with the easiest, which is bar chart. Okay. So a couple of rules regarding bar chart. Number 1 is that the width is the same of all the bars. Achha, bar chart is mainly used, okay, not necessarily, but it's mainly used for qualitative data. Like for example, there are 4 answer options, A, B, C, D, and you want to see the number of students who have answered, like for example this. Okay, so not necessarily, but it's mainly used for qualitative data. Okay, so this is an example of a bar chart. And number two is that bars have an equal amount of spaces in between them. अच्छा, हम अक्सर कहते हैं कि बार चार्ट में हमेशा बीच में स्पेस होता है. Okay, is that correct? We say that bar charts have space in between them. What do you think? Is that correct? क्या ये बात सच है कि बार चार्ट्स के बीच में स्पेस होता है? ऐसा नहीं है. Okay, I'll show you some past paper questions where you will notice that बार चार्ट्स के बीच में स्पेस नहीं होती. ओके, इनफैक्ट हमारे पास पेपर्स में ही कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं वेयर दे आर कॉलिंग it a bar chart and there is no space in between them. Okay, so they have an equal amount of spaces in between them, but I'll put a star over here, and that is it's not necessary. Sometimes you'll come across bar charts that don't really have space in between them. So let's do an example, and we'll do an example from past paper questions directly. So here it is. It's not tested very often because it's easy. So you know when something is easy, sadly it's not tested very often. So here it is. Can you please upload the last video that is based on combinations only creating? Are you talking about A levels? पता कैसे चलेगा कि histogram है या bar chart? Very interesting question. And the answer to that question is even more interesting. And the answer is by reading the question. Okay, so if you read the question, which I know for a lot of you is a tough ask, but you will find out whether it's a histogram or a bar chart. Okay, so let's solve this question. I think 2-3 easy marks. Stephen asked 25 women how many children they have. The results are summarized in the table below. So we're given the number of children and we are given the frequency. So most likely you will have 2 S1 combination videos inshallah out this week. Okay, so on the horizontal axis, what are we going to do? We're going to take the number of children. On the vertical axis, we already know that it's frequency. Okay, so it's already labeled for us. So आपने ज़्यादा जहन पे जोर नहीं देना. ठीक है, सब कुछ आपके लिए हुआ है, आपने बस लाइनें बनानी है. So पहले यहाँ पे 0 लिखते हैं, फिर स्पेस दे देते हैं, फिर 1 लिख लेते हैं, फिर स्पेस दे के 2 लिख लेते हैं, फिर स्पेस दे के 3, फिर स्पेस दे के 4. So we have just enough space to accommodate the 5 values. Okay, how to make bar on 0? Okay, you'll follow along, you'll find out how to make bar on 0. Now what about the frequency? Let's see if we can take the scale of 1:1. I think we can. The maximum is 7. So as long as we can accommodate 7, we're good to go. So 0 की क्या frequency है? 0 की frequency है 7. So that means the height of this bar is going to be 7 units. So here it is. There you go. I didn't shift anything. ठीक है, देखो मैं basically ये वाला 0 नहीं है. ठीक है, ये क्या है? This is the number of children. Okay, so I'm representing 0 children over here. ठीक है, तो मैंने 0 नहीं shift किया. It's not like I took this 0 and shifted it over here. यहाँ पे हमें क्या करना है? यहाँ पे basically we need to show these values, the number of children. ठीक है, तो मैंने एक space दे के start किया. Okay, आप चाहो तो आप यहाँ से start करो. That's fine, not a problem. Okay, but just make sure that the space that you have in between is equal. Even if you leave no space, it should be equal. Okay, how did I form the x-axis? I'll explain it again. Now the question is, what are we supposed to take on the x-axis to begin with? We're supposed to take number of children on the x-axis, correct? Achha, how many unique values do we have for that? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 unique values. Okay, अब आप ये भी कर सकते हैं 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but this will not look very nice. बहुत ही crammed हो जाएगा. तो हम एक काम करते हैं. हम एक बॉक्स छोड़ते हैं, 0 मार्क करते हैं, फिर एक बॉक्स छोड़ते हैं, 1 मार्क करते हैं, फिर एक बॉक्स छोड़ते हैं, 2 मार्क करते हैं, फिर एक बॉक्स छोड़ते हैं, 3 मार्क करते हैं, फिर एक बॉक्स छोड़ते हैं, 4 मार्क करते हैं. Okay, so I'm not shifting 0. ये basically हम यहाँ से हम measure नहीं कर रहे. Okay, so these are not coordinates. Okay, these are basically unique values that we have to show on the horizontal axis. Okay, it's not like this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, these are not coordinates. These are basically discrete values. Okay, now what's the frequency of 0? The frequency of 0 is 7. So that means the height of the bar is going to be 7. There you go. What's the frequency of 1? The frequency of 1 is 5. So the height of the bar is going to be 5. There you go. What's the frequency of 2? It's 6. So the height of the bar is going to be 6. What's the frequency of 3? The frequency of 3 is 4. So the height of the bar is going to be 4. What's the frequency of 4? The frequency of 4 is 3. So there you go. Okay, that's it. Job done. Where can I access these notes? You can download all the notes from the website. Okay, you can download all the notes from the website www.mathletepysart.com. Okay. अच्छा, ये आ गया हमारा bar chart. Okay, now bar chart is not at all complicated, so I think I'm just going to do one more question of bar chart and that's it. ज़्यादा questions इसके करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. We're just going to do 2 questions and that's it. And then after that, what's important is basically cumulative frequency, histogram, ये आपके ज़्यादा important है और bar chart के आपको questions बहुत ही कम मिलेंगे. So here's another question of bar chart. Just a minute. I know you guys can't see my screen. Just a minute. Here. Sir, in the probability parts, marks are 2, but close to no working is done. Should we write the statement 2? No, no need to write a statement. The 2 marks are distributed in such a way that you will have 1 mark for working, any form of relevant working, and 1 mark for the final answer. Okay. No, shading is not compulsory. Shading is not at all compulsory. So here's another question, and see if you guys can solve this. Okay, so somebody asked me, how will we know whether it's a bar chart or a histogram? So the answer is right here. It says the bar chart shows the results. Yeah, these are all extended questions. Okay, all the questions that I've taken are either from O-levels or IGCSE extended. In the next stream, in the next statistics stream, I'll give you the compiled PDF also. Reason why I didn't give it to you guys in this stream is because it wasn't ready. Sir, will you do yeah, I will do a quadratic graph stream as well. Sir, can I request a question? It's not in notes. Can I have WhatsApp and send it to you? You can send it to me on Instagram. Okay, you can send it to me on Instagram. Now find the mode. All right. How do we find out the mode? Mode is basically the term with the highest frequency. Now what are we dealing with over here? We're dealing with the number of people living in each of 50 houses. A survey recorded the number of people living in each of 50 houses. The bar chart shows the results. Find the mode. So which term on the horizontal axis has the highest frequency? It's 4. And what's the mode going to be? It's not going to be 12. Don't write 12. The mode is going to be 4. Okay. Now find the median. All right. How will I find out the median? Question for you guys. Notice that we have 50 houses. So we'll do 50 plus 1 divided by 2. Why are we doing 50 plus 1? Because these are discrete values. 50 plus 1 divided by 2 will be 25.5. And here also we'll start adding the frequencies. Okay, so how will we start adding the frequency? The frequency of this is 7. The frequency of this is 11. The frequency of this is 10. This is 12. This is 6. And this is 4. So let's start adding the frequencies. Ye 7 hai. 7 plus 11, what's that equal to? That's equal to 28. What do we want? We want 7 plus 11 is not 28, it's actually 18. 7 plus 11 is 18, okay. And then 18 plus 10, what's that equal to? That's equal to 28. Up 28 is what's 18 plus 11 is equal to? 18 plus 10 is equal to? What do we want? We want the average of the 25th term and the 26th term. So whenever we are in a situation like this, we take the average of the 25th and the 26th term and we divide by 2. अब 28 का मतलब ये कि 18 की टर्म के बाद 28th term तक सारी terms कितनी हैं? सारी terms 3 हैं. Okay, so after the 18th term, all the way to the 28th term, they're all equal to 3. So that means the 25th and the 26th term must also be equal to 3. Therefore, the median is 3. Okay, so I'll repeat. We're adding the frequencies. So 7 plus 11, that's equal to 18. 18 plus 10, that's equal to 28. What are we looking for? We're looking for 25.5, which means the 25th term and the 26th term. So all the first 18 terms, we don't want that. After the 18th, that means the 19th to the 28th term, they're all equal to 3. So that means the 25th term and the 26th term must also be equal to 3. So therefore, the average of 3 and 3 is also 3. Now let's calculate the mean. Achha, mean calculate karne ke liye, I would advise you to make a frequency table. Okay, so we are using the bar chart to calculate the mean. So I would advise you to make a frequency table. So When x is 1, what's the frequency? 7. When x is 2, what's the frequency? The frequency is 11. When x is 3, what's the frequency? The frequency is 10. When x is 4, what's the frequency? The frequency is 12. When x is 5, what's the frequency? The frequency is 6. When x is 6, what's the frequency? The frequency is 4. Now let's multiply these terms. 7 times 1 is 7, 2 times 11 is 22, 3 times 10 is 30, 4 times 12 is 48, 5 times 6 is 30, 24. Add them up and divide it by the total, which happens to be, what's the total? The total happens to be 50. Is it 1? It's definitely not 1. I don't know what you're talking about. It's definitely not 1. So let's see. 7 plus 22 plus 30 plus 48 plus 30 plus 24 divided by 50. So it's 3.22. 3.22 is the mean. How to find out the interquartile range? Upper quartile minus lower quartile. Okay, so we'll do that when we're doing cumulative frequency. All right, now let's do one last question for today's stream. Not the last question of statistics, but the last question of today's stream. And we're going to do pictogram. Acha, pictogram, interestingly, there's an interesting story about pictogram. For a lot of years, a lot of teachers, including me, just stopped teaching pictogram because it was never tested. So because there was no past paper question on pictogram, so we just stopped teaching pictogram. And in, I think it was May, June 2022, that a question on pictogram came and a lot of students were shocked. Okay, ye kahan se aa gaya? But then, if you think about it, imagine that you are one of those students who hasn't learned pictogram at all, and now you're faced with one of these questions. So see if you can solve it. Sir, can you please again, part B again? Couldn't understand. Part B में क्या है? Median है ना? अब देखो यहाँ पे आपकी x values हैं और आपकी frequency आप y axis से देख के निकाल लो. 1 की frequency 7 है, 2 की frequency 11 है, 3 की frequency 10 है, 12 की frequency 4 की frequency 12 है, 5 की frequency 6, 6 की frequency 4. अच्छा, अब मीडियन कौन सी टर्म होगी? मीडियन होगी 25.5th टर्म. So you start adding the frequencies, meaning this is 7. Okay, 7 plus 11 is equal to what? Is equal to 18. हमें क्या चाहिए? हमें चाहिए 25th टर्म और 26th टर्म. अच्छा, जब हम 18 में 10 ऐड करते हैं तो हमारे पास क्या आ गया? हमारे पास 28 आ गया. मतलब 18 के बाद, which means 19. So 19th टर्म से लेके 28th टर्म तक सारी किसके बराबर है? सारी 3 के बराबर है. ओके, ये सारी 3 के बराबर है. अब 25th टर्म भी क्या होगी? वो भी 3 होगी. 26th टर्म भी क्या होगी? वो भी 3 होगी. डिवाइड बाय 2 एंड यू हैव द आंसर. ओके, नाउ math joke. Why was the equal sign so humble? Because it knew it wasn't less than or greater than. Okay, I've seen better math jokes. A part, what do you mean A part? A part में क्या चाहिए? Mode चाहिए. So सबसे ज़्यादा frequency कौन सी है? 12 है. 12 किसकी frequency? 4. So 4 is the correct answer. We're doing mix and match. We're doing paper 1 and paper 2 questions. Okay, so it's a mix and match. Mostly paper 1 though, but on and off we come across paper 2 questions as well. So anyone who has the answer to this? No, this is not stem and leaf. This is pictogram. ये क्या लिखा है? This is pictogram. Sir, is your IGCSE 0580? It's still in process, but there's no point in joining now. We're almost done with the syllabus. S1 combination, like I said, this week inshallah, most likely 2 videos तो आ जाएंगी. ठीक है? $12.7. All right, let's find out. So basically, you guys really don't need to study pictogram to solve this question. If you have some common sense, you'll be able to do it. So we are given, Asha asks a group of students about their favorite fruit. The table and pictogram show some of the results. So pictogram, I guess you probably did in grade 6 or 7, I don't know. But whatever it is that you did, that's good enough. अब apple है 8, banana कितने नहीं पता, orange 5, melon we don't know. Now, the key here is that one circle represents 4 people. So this is very important. Okay, the key is very important. The key will basically help you solve this question. Iska matlab, one circle represents how many people? One circle represents 4 people. So that's what pictogram does. Okay, pictogram mein, you basically use pictures to show frequency. That's what it does. Okay, so pictogram is basically where you use pictures to show frequency. Okay, and every picture is worth a certain number of students or people, whatever it is. So if one circle represents 4 and 8 people like apples, so that means I'll make 2 circles. Okay, one for 4 and the other for remaining 4. Okay. Now, what about banana? So 4, 4 and 4, so that means a total of 12 people like banana. Now we have to show orange. अच्छा ऑरेंज कितने लोगों को पसंद है 5 लोगों को अब हम ये कैसे दिखाएंगे so what we'll do is we'll make one circle okay and for the one person we'll make a quarter circle okay so if one circle represents 4 people that means a quarter circle represents one person. Now what about melon? So for melon we can see that we have a full circle that means 4 and then we have 3 quarters of a circle or 1 quarter less than a circle so that means 4 minus 1 which is equal to 3 so that means 7 people like melon. Now, write down the mode. What's the mode? The mode is the fruit that people like the most, and that is banana. There you go. How do I register? So registrations, inshallah, will start this week, most likely from Thursday. Okay, so Thursday se registrations of the yearly past paper session will start, and you guys can then register. Okay, and the session itself will start from the first week of April. All right, so we're going to keep it till here only, and tomorrow, inshallah, I'll be streaming number sequences. I'll do another part of this, most likely, towards the end of the week, maybe on the weekend, or maybe on Thursday or Friday. Okay, so stay tuned. I'll announce on my Instagram, and I'll announce on YouTube as well. But for now, we're going to keep it till here only. We will pick this up, inshallah, in the next class. In the next class, we're going to do pie chart. We're going to do, basically, in the next class onwards, we're going to do the real stuff. Okay, meaning we'll do pie chart, histogram, and cumulative frequency. ठीक है pie chart इतना important नहीं है but cumulative frequency और histogram आपका important है. So I will stop here. See you guys inshallah this week. Tomorrow I'm streaming number sequences, remember, and once again those of you are asking for the past paper session, it will start from the 1st of April. Registrations will most likely start on Thursday. Stay tuned, there will be a video guiding you how to register, and you'll find the timings and everything as well. So once again, fellas, take care. Allah Hafiz. And before you go, if you haven't liked the stream, please do that, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. So now, Allah Hafiz. For real this time.